All right, here we go.
So we
Season
are
one.
live.
Yes, yes, yes. We're live right now, my brother.
Yes.
All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode um, of the Married Man Podcast. My name is Irvik, and this is.
Nate.
Yeah, Nate kind of hesitated a little bit. He forgot what his name was. He thought I was going to say his
Hey, I was about to say Nathaniel.
I want to say Nathaniel. Yeah, so here we are again. Another episode of season one, episode two.
Yes.
Um, so, Nate, what's the title of today's episode, man?
So tonight's title is The Worst 5 Years of Marriage.
The worst 5 years of marriage. And I think with that title alone, it says a lot. And definitely, we're going to get into several different topics pertaining to the worst 5 years of marriage,
Yeah.
dealing with some of the situation men deal with, from finances, from learning how to communicate,
Mm-hmm.
from just being able to learn how to lead. Those are some of the things that take place within the first 5 years of marriage. As you can see, we say the worst 5 years of marriage. Of course, you could flip that, take it however way you want to take it.
Mm-hmm.
But before we start, though, we definitely want to make it known that this conversation that we are having is for everyone, for every man, from every nationality. It doesn't just ring to one particular group of men. If you are a married man, and this podcast is for you, wherever you are um, around the world, this podcast is for you. So um, hopefully some of the topic that we will be discussing would be topic that could assist you in being better men, being better husband, and being better father. So Nate, tell us a little bit about how we typically do our podcast, man, towards the end. I know we mentioned something about the growth scale. Tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about that.
So basically, the growth scale is a metric, a measurement based on how do we cross-examine our current behaviors, meaning presently, and then how do we improve on those behaviors to present continuous. So, for example, if I have some type of attitude in dealing with my wife a certain type of way negatively, so first we analyze, okay, what is the behavior? What is the unhealthy behavior? We recognize that behavior, and then we identify strategies to where we can improve that behavior. For example, taking a moment to identify what the conflict might possibly be in that conversation and then resolving that conflict. That's basically what the growth scale is. Growth scale is an application towards changing behavioral outcomes. These are metrics that we can visualize, not something that is in a fairy tale world that we can't see. For example, we hear terms or sayings such as, I'm working on me and I'm healing. What does that even look like? So we provide anecdotal ideas to where you can benefit from the growth scale and again grow and continue to grow because as people say, I want the better version of me. So the current version of me might be the negative attitude. The the future version of me might be an improvement, and then the present continuous got has to keep going. We're looking at a timeline. That's what we're looking at, just to conclude the scope of the growth scale.
Definitely appreciate that, Nate. So now that you get an idea of how this podcast is going to go, I just want to let you guys know too. The way we going to be having this conversation is as if we were on the phone with each other. We're going to be very real, very authentic. The type of conversation we're going to have, when you're talking to your brothers, when you're talking to your partner,
Mm-hmm.
just be saying certain things and it's like, yo, blah, 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 yo, blah, blah, blah. this is how the podcast goes, you know. So as you can see, we relax. We are, man, we
Your
had a
husband.
long day of work today, you know what I'm saying? And here we are now having the discussion. So we don't want to make it seem like, oh, we gotta be a certain type of way. What you see is what you get
Is
from
what you
us.
get.
And we want to make sure that for those brothers and sisters that will be listening to possibly gain something out of this, is that this will be a way that you'll be able to be yourself. At the end of the day, as men, we got to be ourselves. As husband, we got to be ourselves. And
Definitely.
sometimes we try to be somebody that we're not within the marriage, that typically throw everything off course to where we don't really understand how to go forward. So our conversation going to be real. It's going to be touching on some key points. And thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so.
Yeah, please.
Share and let as many brothers, as many sisters, or whoever you think might benefit from this podcast to tune in and listen to some of the opinion that we have. What we say is our opinion. The way we have conversation is from our experiences, from our culture, and from our environment. So nothing we say here is something that I could say that you could take and say, oh, let me go do a fact checks. The fact checks is our lives. The fact
Yeah.
checks is what we've gone through in our marriages. In the last episode, I told you guys a little bit about me. I've been married before, was divorced, and this is my second marriage. Nate is on his first marriage, as Nate said it before. It's on a year-to-year contract. You know what I'm
Lease. We
saying?
on a lease agreement.
Oh, a year-to-year lease. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much the whole content. So you're gonna receive perspective from both sides of the spectrum, and God willing, what we share through this podcast could help you be a better man, be a better husband, and be a better father as well, and be able to take your marriage to the next level as you desire to do so. So, with that being said, Nate, let's get it
So
cracking, man.
so let's you made a statement earlier within your disposition. Your statement was being someone that you're not. I can only imagine how many men go into marriages or go into engagements pretending to be something that he isn't. And what that could look like is attempting to please someone just to get through their engagement, get through their marriage, or not being honest in regards to having certain conversations. Last week, we were discussing how we should have some conversations prior to engagement and marriage. And those conversations might be about sex, those conversations might be about finances, family, friends. These components within these conversations are very important. Why are they important? Because that provides you an idea of how you can forcefully forecast potential issues. And what we want to do is navigate through these issues so that we can continue to develop in our growth. Um, what would be your response to that statement, Irvin?
Nate, honestly, man, you hit it on the money, bro. Um, that's one thing I could definitely say from experience, going into a relationship being somebody else. A lot of time, as men in relationship, especially as minority men, men that come from background where they don't really have a good example of
Yeah,
um, of how to be a man. So you learn how to be a man through different ventures that your environment provides you. So now that you are starting to get involved into a relationship, and you like, yo, I can't really let this chick see me this way. So I gotta portray this type of personality to this chick. And
Uh-huh.
that personality that you're portraying, that female might like it. You know what I'm saying? That female might dislike it. That female might like, shit, what the heck this dude doing? But you continue on with this personality in hope that the female will come through, and hope that she'll like, oh, I like this about him. I like that about him, you know. And then as that prolong itself, then it's like you becoming somebody that to this female that you doesn't even, I mean, you don't really like, and she may like it, but you can't really sustain it long enough to make
Right.
sure that it keep going. Again, based on the title, the worst 5 years of marriage. So after you continue on this pattern, then things start changing. Then you start asking yourself, "Whoa, what the heck is happening?" But one thing you said, though, Nate, man, I mean, you pretty much touched on it, man, as far as having certain type of discussion. Um, Prior to getting married, try to have those type of discussion related to, okay, yeah, we dating, yeah, been on a few dates. Now let's get down to the nitty gritty. Who are
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
Who is Ervic? Who is Nate?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of crazy, man, because again, we don't really have the discussion, man.
No, no. We what we do, we have those we, we will engage in those. So what do you like to do and where do you like to go? Okay, that's good surface level stuff. But who are your friends?
Yeah.
What is your mom and your dad like? Are you religious? And do you believe in God? Are you a Muslim? Are you an atheist? Like, what are those components? We have to be very real with what we want versus, and I'm going to use the word settling because I'm going to define how I'm using settling. Settling basically looks like this. I like this guy so much, or I like this woman so much that I will disregard that I have a strong faith base, but he might not have a faith base, or she might not have a strong faith base. So I'm going to compromise and
Oh, they
or
could pretend to have a fake base.
dude, what? Yes. Good one, good catch. Yes, and pretend and then string you all along. So then when conflict comes up, okay, then this is what this person looks like. You've already created a situation that did not exist previously. Why would we want to create situations that did not exist previously? And that's what we want to do. We want to catch these situations or presuppositions or issues early within the conversation before you even get into talking about engagements.
But Nate, check this out though, man. I mean, you talking about trying to get to the conversation early, man. As we was prepping for this, man, we was talking, man. We was like, yo, but do we really want to have those conversations though, man? Because again, like if we really stop and really talk about those really issues about, oh, what's your belief, your your parents' lifestyle, or some of
Yeah,
the things that aggravate you, or what are some of the fantasies that you have. Like if we really have those conversations early, Nate, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. It's like those type of things
that's gonna make you a break. Hey,
that's gonna make or break it, bro. And
should,
sometimes it get uncomfortable.
should I now? The question is, should I marry this person based on this conversation? This is a black and white response or answer. Why? Because now you have captured a scope of what this person now looks like and what he or she will potentially look like in the future. So having that scope and being able to forecast, you're like, do I really want to deal with this guy or this girl? Is it as financially responsible? I see that he or she is purchasing things unnecessarily. We get in, and let's say we're dating hypothetically for 3 months. Within 3 months, you see this person is just just spending out of control. And then you have to apply those components or those behaviors. Well, if he or she is doing this, then what is that going to look like when we're married or somebody get laid off? How do we manage these finances and from a mature basis?
Well, that's the key thing, though, bro. It's like a lot of people are not mature enough to have this type of conversation and be real with it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, again, like you just said before, I mean, 3 months into the dating, and then you see your spouse or you see your girl, your dude, whatnot, spending like crazy, and then you ask the question, like, well, first and foremost, based on your financial situation, I mean, but you probably won't even dare ask that question. You know what I'm saying? You probably be like, well, hey, I don't got it like that. I mean, she got it or he got it, so I mean, I don't want to ask. Then they're gonna be like, well, this is my money that I'm spending. Why you worrying about my money that I'm spending? Blah 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 blah. And and they won't be a true sense of willingness to really have a true conversation. I'm not saying that this is your money or my money issue. This is a us issue. Like, how is it? Are we going to be able to create this union if we don't know how each other handle money or how each other handle our finances prior to? Yes, are we going to be able to come together and create this great, great plan prior to? No, but if we have that authentic conversation about how you spend and why you spend, and
Yeah.
likewise for myself, then at least we could have a better idea on how to deal with those situations when we get to a place where it's like, okay, we got to cut down on certain things. And if we cut down on this, then this is how we should be. Then at least at that moment, it will be better received compared to seeing it happening prior to the I do stage, and then it's like now you want to have a conversation, and then the thing gonna be, you ain't had no problem with me spending before,
Yeah.
so you got a problem with me spending now, you know. So yeah, man. So it's like those type of conversation are great to have before, because to avoid the worst 5 years of marriage, man. But I honestly, Nate, bro, I mean, I could speak from personal experience. Like in my first marriage, bro, I didn't think to have this conversation, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Neither.
the only thing I saw was, oh, she said, yeah, she'll marry me. Okay, cool, let's go. And then through trial and error, then I started realizing and seeing certain things.
Mhm.
Now I will tell you this though, in my second go around, yeah, my wife and I, bro, we were open book. We
Yeah.
had every conversation, bro. But you know what's the good thing about it though? Is that the key thing we said earlier was maturity. I was more mature now to have this conversation. I was more mature to be able to receive an answer from my wife that I did not want to hear, but was able to receive it and process it and able to understand where she come from, even though I didn't want to hear it. But again, it's her telling me what it is that she like, what it is that she do, what it is that she don't like.
Mhm.
And by me hearing those things, that will allow me to go back and tell her what I like, what I don't like, what I prefer. And then we begin that dialogue, bro. So I think a lot of men, bro, for one, they don't have the maturity level yet, bro, to really have those type of conversation prior to. And I'm gonna let you speak. But one of the key things that make them also to want to have a conversation, bro, is the fear of losing that woman.
Dude, we had that conversation last week, and we were like, we had an aha moment, like that was a light bulb moment,
Yeah.
because the fear of not losing your woman and somebody else who's better than you getting her. That is a
Yeah,
reality.
yeah, yeah.
And so let's I want to rewind in regards to the finances. You made us you I just want to touch on something in regards to how we handle the finances, because this is very important, handling finances. So for example, my wife, when we had our conversation about accounts, checking accounts, banking accounts, I'm like, well, I work and I just put the money in one account. So this is how we do this till this day, ever since we got married. I have an account, she has an account, and we have a household account. All my check goes to a household account. Anything extra that I do go to my personal account. So for example, playing keys, um, any type of design work that I'm engaging in, that goes to that account. Oh, also the kids, they have an account as well. So we funnel money through their accounts to their accounts as well. In contrast with her account, she earns the money that she does whenever she does her accounting ventures or real estate ventures. But at the end of the day, all the money go into the pot. For me, for us, there isn't, oh, this is my money or that money. Because I'm like, I just need $100 because that's all I need. Take care of the house, take care of the kids. I'm good. In contrast, everyone won't be like that.
Correct.
I believe, I'm not gonna say I believe. Perhaps the conflict could be, oh, this is my money. I work for my money. I do what I want to do with my money. Versus, this is a collective effort. If I'm making 50,000 and you're making 40,000, we got 90,000 collectively.
Yeah,
Versus, you could do more with 90,000 versus having separate
for
accounts.
sure, for sure. But nah, you're right, bro. And that's the other thing about it. Like you said before, this is our money, not yours, not mine. And that's the immaturity of the man, because society tell you that, hey, if you don't make more money than her,
Uh huh.
then you ain't a man. If she make
Right.
more money than you, then you ain't a man. She controlling the house, blah 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 blah. And honestly, bro, I mean, we both are God fearing, man. Man,
Yeah.
that's not biblical. I'm the
No.
man of my household, regardless if my lady make more money than me or not. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it is a collective effort. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's ours. Like you said before, if you make 50 and she make 40 or vice versa, that's $90,000 right there, man. That's coming to the home. And how you guys process that,
Right.
that's what will make the empire run efficiently.
Right.
But then when you allow yourself to listen to everybody else telling you, oh, you the man, so you should be doing this, you that. And honestly, bro, I look at those dudes, man, be like, all right, look, you do your home your way, I do my home my way.
Mm-hmm.
My wife reverence me, and I reverence my wife. You know what I'm saying? And that's all that matters for the both of us. You know what I'm saying? As long as we both are on the same page, we both understand exactly where we both at. We both understand what is our journey, what is our goal, what is our objective for our home. I could care less what everybody else may say, bro. And and as far as it's concerned, as far as the head of the household and this and that, and we both play a share in that. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I am the head of my home, but it be certain time my wife might have a better idea than I
Yeah.
do. And then I have to submit myself to her ideas and say,
Ooh.
okay, baby, I'm hearing you right now. I'm listening. All right, then let's go with your way. You know what I'm saying? And then after she did that, you know what I'm saying, then we'll continue living. You know what I'm saying? So being the head, it's understanding when you have to allow yourself to submit to your wife motive, to your wife, whatever the occasion may call it for. Because if we in this together, if I'm a true head, I gotta know how to follow sometime. You know what I'm saying? I can't just lead him without understanding how to follow. And who is the best person that I need to follow if it's not my wife? You know what I'm saying? Because she understands me. She understands what I bring. She understands what I'm able to do. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So with all that being said, what I say to people that talk in the context of, oh, if you don't make this amount of money, you ain't no man. Hey, I go back to what my grandparents always said: keep living. You know what I'm saying? Keep living. Because at the end of the day, if that's how you identify manhood to be, bro, you got a lot of learning to do, man.
Yeah.
Got a lot of learning to do because there's more stuff out here in this world, in your environment, that money cannot buy. And if you don't know how to lead those things effectively, to make sure your wife is protected, to make sure your kids are safe, to make sure they have a roof over their head, to make sure that they have everything that they could possibly need by any means necessary, then you don't know the definition of a man, bro. If the only way you could define being a man, being the head, is by how much zeros are in your bank account, that's not being a man, bro. So there's a lot more to that. So even with that part of it, bro, those are some of the things, man, I had to learn. You know what I'm saying? Within the first 5 years of marriage, you know what I'm saying, when I was married before. Now with my wife now, it's like, yo, I'm way above all that, man. I know
Yeah.
what it takes. I know what it is to to be the man. I'm not looking for her to validate me. You know what I'm saying? To tell me, oh baby, you the man. Nah, I
Mm-hmm.
know what I am. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I know what I'm able to do. You know what I'm saying? To make sure that everything is what they need to be. But again, a lot of brothers, Nate, don't know that, bro.
Yeah.
They live in this manhood through a fantasy.
Yeah. You and in contrast, you made a statement. I responded with excitement because you said the word submit.
I
So
saw that.
yo, so so gentlemen, let's get something straight. Submission is not a one-way street. Submission is a two-way street. As Irving stated, we are God-fearing men. In contrast, what submission looks like is both ways. Husbands submit therefore to your wives, wives submit therefore to your husband. Submission doesn't look like, oh, when I come home, food better be on the table. Or when I come home, this better be clean. No, you need to assist in cleaning as well. Submission looks like this: avoiding conflicts, not being so easily to be angry and being disingenuous or or creating conflicts. I've stated that before, or basically not being nice. That's what submission looks like. You want to handle the situation. I don't want to say with care, but you want to be mindful of how you communicate with your spouse. That's what submission is, and vice versa. Wives submitting to your husband, not being so quick to be tempered. Well, I thought you was gonna take out the trash. Did you do this? Did you do that? Not being nagging. Just saying, God, not being nagging. Whatever she's doing, you don't need to do either. This goes both ways. So that's what submission looks like for both people. Submission isn't a one-way street. Be nice to each other. Period.
For sure, man. So with that being said, Nate, so a question that we were thinking about throughout the week, and I believe today we came up with a question too, as far as knowing how to deal with issues before we say I do. Do we rather want to learn what those issues are beforehand, or wait till after we say I do and then say, okay, let's try to resolve our issues? You know what I'm saying? Because, a lot of times, like I said before earlier, there's a lot of stuff we deal with as men that we don't want to tell our wives
Oh
prior
yeah.
to, you know what I'm saying? We hold those stuff in. Baby, you okay? Yeah, 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 yeah. Baby, you
Mm-hmm.
good? Yeah, yeah, I'm good. Baby, everything all right? Yeah, 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 yeah. And then here we are, married, and then a wife come in the room. We are like, we got a frown on our face. We
You
get
don't
angry
want to
quick.
talk. Yup.
We do this. I mean, she asks us a question, we start getting
Like,
angry, and then those of
yeah.
us that have kids, that we take it out on the kids, and they're
Yep.
like, "Man, what is wrong with you? I've never seen you this way before." You know what I'm saying? And then that's when all those built up emotion that he had, that if prior to the wedding day then you would have taken the time to talk to your wife about those things. You know what I'm saying? Your wife would have been able to know how to assist you with dealing with the situation. But
Mm-hmm.
the fact that we kept it in, Nate, we don't talk. And now here we are being married. Guess what's happening? People want to talk about, man, I don't think this working. I don't think this working after the first few months of marriage, bro. But
Yeah.
those are stuff that it's like, man, we just spent all this money just and filed this people stuff we could have handled. Babe, let's talk. And from the man perspective, man, she just don't get me.
Yeah.
So with that being said, Nate, do you think that more men need to have serious conversation about their emotions prior to going to the altar to really understand how they deal with their emotion?
I would respond with a yes. And I would respond with a yes because if we can identify unhealthy behaviors
I like
prior,
that.
then we can, again, we can apply a growth scale and we can have independent accountability on how we're going to now manage those emotions and then progress in our behaviors. I'll use a quick analogy in regards to um, purchasing a used car. You know I like to dabble in
Yeah, yeah,
mechanics.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
So when buying a used car, do you want to ask the owner if you're buying independently or through a dealership? Do you want to ask, okay, so what's wrong with this car? Or do you want a chance to say, yeah, I'm gonna get this car? I know there's something wrong, but I don't want to ask. I'll rather just go and deal with the costliness of what might be waiting for me down the line. You might have an engine, and then you might have a transmission issue. In contrast, versus, yeah, this car might need a radiator. Oh, I know I need to plan out for a radiator. This is going to cost me this much money. In contrast with behaviors, we want to identify those behaviors early. So, okay, I know that in certain situations, I can either become jealous, offended, and or get on one or be tempered because of certain situations. And then you made a great point, Irvit. And I'll use myself as an example with my wife and I, because my mother was more, she was tough. My mom was tough. My dad, my dad was laid back, but he was also the disciplinarian. And my dad advised, he had a conversation with us, and his response was, I really ain't want to beat y'all. It was your mom pushing the issue. He says, y'all was fine with me. But with that toughness, you grow tough skin too. So, you would hear when you get a beating, I'm beating you because I love you.
Yeah.
So going into a marriage and dealing with sensitive issues, your wife might be hypersensitive and you might at times be insensitive. And you're like, what you crying for?
That's deep. Yeah, that's
Stop
for
all that
sure.
crying.
Yeah.
So I used to deal with that because I was the tough guy. That was my shield. That was my emotion. That I'm tough. Whatever, my feelings ain't easily hurt because my mom did all what she needed to do to hurt my feelings. So I'm good. Say what you got to say. But if you embarrass me, I'm gonna be on one. Just
Hmm.
don't embarrass me. So yeah, we definitely need to deal with how we approach our behavior, which can stem from either the emotions, the emotional aspect, and the behaviors can be, God forbid, physical behaviors, verbal behaviors. That's where you get the physical abuse, verbal abuse. I do not condone any of that. I've never raised my hand and hit my wife, and I wasn't that mad at her to where I need to raise my. I'm just gonna slide out.
Yeah. I mean, but even when you get to that point, Nate, you say something that you touch on verbal abuse. And I think that's another discussion that I think most men need to have with a spouse. I mean, with the wife, you know what I'm saying, about um, how they deal with conflict. How do they handle
Good.
uh, uh, um, issues that they disagree with? Like, are you someone that just shut down and then
Yeah.
just um, go in your little corner and you don't want nobody to bother you? Or you someone that throw stuff or that yell or that fuss? Or you someone that just like to talk about it and like to just express yourself and say, okay, baby, I'm dealing with this. So, and if your wife don't take the time to listen to you, how do you react? Do you like, you never listen to me, or do you just wait until the right time and then have a conversation with your wife? So those are some of the things as men that definitely need to have the discussion, and within the first 5 years of marriage, preferably before, but if not, after the I do, the, as they call it, the honeymoon phase is gone, you know, you sit down and really start hashing out those emotional cues that that got you guys together in the first place. It's your emotion that got y'all together. Now
Right.
let's understand how we keep our emotion to keep us together. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? Because if we don't really take the time to discuss those things, man, then that will create a lot of friction within the marriage. And then before you know it, there will be no more 5 years. Nowadays, you know, I was talking to another brother. You're like, man, we need to talk about the first 20 years of marriage. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, 20 years, man, you think they get it all together. And it's like, peace. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But those are some of the issues, man. Those are some of the things that we definitely be able to use from the growth scale measurement and determine the behavioral outcomes of those things. And again, the key things of marriage is that, to me, Nate, as I share with my wife, when we met, we had like 6 hours, bro. We just sit there and talk, you know, about everything, man, about everything, Nate, from our belief, from how we serve God, how we raise our kids, being that we have
Mm-hmm.
previous marriages, and how we gonna be able to bring those two together. How I handle stress, how I handle things I disagree with, and when I need my me time, when she need her me time. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And try to understand how we are able to come together and be able to work. One of the things that my wife and I have, man, we have the honesty moment. You know what I'm saying? The honesty moment is where we get together and just say whatever it is on our mind without no judgment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And at that moment, this is when we get a chance to really tell each other what we dislike or like, whatever it is that's bothering us. We tell each other that. Say, baby, can we have an honesty moment? Okay, what is it?
I
And
like
then
that.
we were able to discuss it, bro. And that's what been helping us. You know what I'm saying? Again, we don't do the honesty moment often because, again, we know each other to a
Right.
certain extent, you know what I'm saying, to where the honesty moment is not really needed all the time. But when we do need the honesty moment at any time, babe, I need an honesty moment. Right now? Yes, baby. All right, what's going on? And then we'll go ahead and share it. So that's another thing I encourage you, brothers, to come up with a way that you could have a moment with your wife where you could be able to tell your wife, hey, baby, I'm going through some stuff and I need to talk to you. Find whatever the code is. If you want to use the honesty moment, hey, I'm trademarking that too. And then go ahead and use that for your relationship. Hey, by all means, do it. And one thing too, before I let Nate go on and add to that, is another thing that we do a lot. We pray together. You know, whenever we before we go to bed, we pray. In the morning when we wake up together, we pray. If I'm not around her, hey, best believe it, she gonna get a text from me. She gonna
Yeah.
get a prayer to a text. So, and one key thing, fellas, is consistency. You gotta be consistent. If you're not consistent, you're gonna mess it up. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Hey, the way you got your baby, that's the way you gotta keep her. Now, she's not gonna be the same woman that you met from day one, because every day's a different day. She evolving. So you gotta evolve with her. And she's gotta evolve with you. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? But go ahead, Nate, man. So I could keep going forever, man. I know we got about 5 more minutes in here, man. So we want to go ahead and give some good nuggets.
Oh gosh. I don't even know where I'm gonna segue to. Let's take a moment to pause because you touched on the growth scale briefly. So let's look at the growth scale. This is not the conclusion of our conversation, but this is a moment to where we can pivot and then identify our growth scale. So as Irving stated, take out some opportunities, carve out some time to have an honesty moment. For example, we also have honesty moments, but we ask each other questions like, "Are you good? Are, are you good? Yeah, I'm good. Do you have something you would like to talk about? No, no. Okay, we good then." And then that's our barometer. That's how we check our temperature within our relationship. Because again, marriage is a perfect union. The issue is the relationship, the communication, and the conflict within the relationship. So the marriage isn't the issue. I hate my marriage. No, you hate the relationship. You don't hate
Yeah,
the marriage cannot be
I like
destroyed.
that. You hit the relationship, not the marriage. I like that.
Right? Relationships destroyed, but they can also be repaired as well, or reconciled. So within that growth scale, you need again, we want to provide you with a barometer, a measurement that you can apply to where you are accountable so that you're not living off some type of imaginary skill that does not exist. Create moments, have those opportunities to have conversations. Honey, right now is not the best time for you to be hugging and kissing on me right now. I'm just not in the mood. Yo, Irv, this is for real.
Yeah, I'm laughing, man, because I could relate to that.
Like, listen,
My
I
wife do
want
that to me all the time. I be trying to kiss up on her. She's like, baby,
like listen, I want to smash, or she might want to smash at the moment. I'm like, dang, I want to smash, but right now my mind is not in this space. This has nothing to do with her or do with her.
Correct.
This has nothing to do with you. But in contrast, can tr- our behavior triggers signals that she can respond. I wonder what I did.
Yeah,
You don't have that conversation, that mind is going to start wandering.
big time. Big time.
I wonder what I did. I wonder what I said to make him upset. And my mind is nowhere near thinking about her. My mind is probably dealing with the household, how I'm going to make more money to manage sustainability, economic sustainability within our household. That's what I'm thinking about. Or battling with a an idea. Well, am I competent, or can I be efficient enough as the husband and as the father? So those are the conflicts that can interfere with the thought process if you fail to manage those ideas. Again, as Irvin stated earlier, be independent, know your identity. We've mentioned that in our previous episode 1, being authentic. You don't have to be somebody that you're not. You don't have to prove points. Irvin, you also mentioned consistency again in the growth scale. Consistency. What do you do? Don't make statements like, "Oh, you knew how I was when you met me." That cannot fly.
You're a
If
whole
you
different person now.
right, your future you can't be your past you.
Oh, I like that. Your future you can't be your past you. Hallelujah.
And if you're talking about marriage and you're talking about a bond, like what sustains a I don't want to get to uh
Let's all use you,
wealthy.
brother. Go ahead.
I I don't want to get too medical. That's what I want to use. I don't want to get too medical and start talking about covalent bonds, because I basically, in order for a bond to be sustainable, you need to make sure that that bond has certain nutrients in order to progress within a body. And again, I'm just giving a synopsis because I don't want to get too technical about medical terms. But
Yeah.
if you're talking about, oh, we're in this together, and you fail to progress, you failed to progress from your past you when we first met versus your future you, like, who are you? This is an identity crisis now.
That's
So
true.
so that's how we want to make sure that we are being truthful to the growth scale, and that we are setting behavioral metrics to change behavioral outcomes.
That is so true, Nate. And with the behavioral outcome aspect, man, I think that's one thing that we all need to make sure we do a lot more of. And within the first 5 years, fellas, there's going to be a lot about yourself that you're going to learn. There's going to be a lot about yourself that you're going to discover. There's going to be a lot about yourself that you're going to figure out
Yeah,
about your wife
that you don't
and
like.
that you don't like.
You did
Correct.
before.
Exactly. So with that being said, it's not as Nate said before, is that you can't let your future you and function with your past you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because who you were when you met her, you was one way. Now that you guys are joining together, this is a whole new you. It's not the same you anymore as an independent.
Ooh.
Or go ahead, Nate. Jump on that, man, before you forget.
No, go.
Go
No,
ahead,
I'm
brother.
just,
No, no,
yo,
no, no, no. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
dude,
Jump on it.
nah, you finish, dude, because that was dope, man. That was
Nah,
dope.
jump on it, man. Go ahead, man.
No,
Tag. You ahead.
finish up, dog.
All right. All right. All right. So, so now that you guys are together,
Man.
now that you guys are together, you guys are creating a whole new identity. You know what I'm saying? So I think this is where a lot of men fell short at, even myself, is that I thought because we're together, it's all about I gotta keep me. I gotta stay being who I am, which is true. You do have to stay be who you are. But while you are evolving within your own identity, you gotta also evolve yourself within the nucleus of your relationship with your wife. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't know who you are within the nucleus of your relationship with your wife, that would cause a lot of friction. Because again, even though you guys are two individuals, but you guys have joined together to
Yeah,
become
one.
one. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the part a lot of men doesn't quite understand, Nate. They don't know that, okay, man, I gotta be me. I mean, I can't let this woman make me change who I am. This is how I was. This is what I've been doing all my life. And the woman, hey, I'm not gonna let him come in and change me because this is what I've been doing my whole life. Look, I tell my wife all the time, baby, I would never change you. I
Yeah.
I came into your life because of who you are. I love that part about you. And I don't want you to change me. You came into my life because of who I am. But now that we are together, I want to learn us together so we could become a strong unit where we could build an empire right, where our kids could know exactly what it is to be in a happy and loving
Yeah.
and what's the word I'm looking for, dealing with emotion, um, in a stable emotional state, in a good emotional state
Yes.
together. Because I think a lot of kids, man, seeing their mother and father or seeing uh, uh, um, their mom, husband, or their dad, wife get together, you know what I'm saying, from blended family, they still try to figure out what it is to have a union.
Mm-hmm.
So, with all that being said, let's learn to be an individual, but let's also learn to be a unit. Go ahead, Nate.
Dude, you were I'm speechless.
Hey
Because
man, I'm just letting the Lord use me, brother.
my mind is like going in everywhere. So there's so many responses that I can give, but just that nucleus, just thinking about cells, how cells develop and how you have an implosion and that those cells start to develop into a future something. So you stated previously, your past you cannot go into the future you. You're asking for trouble. You're you're setting yourself up for a catastrophe that doesn't have to exist. And again, that's part of the growth scale. At what point in your life do you cross examine and ask yourself the question of accountability? At what point will I change how I'm behaving? We're not talking about the wife, gentlemen. Well, she did this. No, we're talking about us. How do we manage accountability and how do we become a model for the entire family? How do we model out behavior? That's the purpose of marriage, that we are again a unit and that we complement each other. In contrast, if there's constant friction or if you're unsubmitted, again, you're just waiting for a catastrophe. That junk going to end quick.
That is true, Nate. So with that being said, coming towards the end right now.
Already?
Already, man. It's already been 50 something minutes, bro. We've been having a
What?
conversation, man. So that's how it be, man. When you be talking and you be trying to come up with different ways of being a better you, hey, time
Dude.
flies for real. Time flies.
Yeah.
So,
So let's review or cover, provide a scope. So
correct.
tonight we discussed the the worst 5 years of marriage. And we want to ensure that we are communicating, progressing, and ensuring that we set realistic behavioral outcomes. So, for example, if I'm setting a behavioral outcome in a growth scale, what that looks like is that like this. If my wife has an attitude, that doesn't mean that I get to have an attitude as well. In contrast, I'm going to listen to what she has to say, and because that's the model behavior. That's what we that's what the priest, or that's what the head of the house does. Model the behavior that should be sustainable, that's healthy. So you model the behavior, listen, oh, and then repeat what she's saying. Honey, what I'm hearing is X, Y, and Z. Is this what you're saying? Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying. We want to make sure that we get clarity versus popping off and just ready to just go off. Listen to grasp clarity so that you can have a logistic response,
True.
a rational response versus irrational emotions.
That is so true, Nate. So with that being said, I think this episode, Nate, might need a part two. We
Yeah, I
might
think we're
need to do a part two on this episode, man, because we still have a lot more
gonna, yeah,
gem, man, that we definitely need to provide within the 5 years of marriage, man. The worst 5 years of marriage, man. So as you view this video, um, let us know what you think. If you want a part two of this, let us know in the comments. Um, and we'll come up and be able to provide some more information. Because at the end of the day, um, brothers, we got to do better in our relationship. As God created marriage, it's a beautiful thing. Marriage is something that will be able to grow you and your wife together, but it's only going to be able to provide the fruit of it if you understand how to approach it.
Right.
And but that the way you approach it though will start with you, brothers. It gonna start with you because if you not in tune with who you are from within, forget what you're hearing outside, but from within. If you're not in tune with who you are from within, and ask God to show you who you are in Him as well, and then in return ask God to show who you are within the marriage, um, things going to be a little bit shaky. But for the most part, Nate, myself, this podcast going to be here. If you ever need to come back and listen to a refresher or try to get some clue, try to get some nuggets, try to get some ideas, or if you just want to just listen to it to allow yourself to calm down and then go back and go at
Yeah.
it again, please do. It's not a one-time thing, fellas. If you didn't hear one thing Nate and I said today, consistency. That's the key. That's the key with anything for a female, bro. If
Cons-
you are consistent with what you're doing, this female, your wife, gonna be
She's gonna
loving
go,
you.
gonna go to the moon because the idea is I need to feel protected. That
Yeah,
is the premise of a woman wanting to stay with you, and she'll do any and everything for you.
yeah.
That's that's the truth.
That's it. If she feel protected with you, bro, you ain't got no more words.
She ain't
And
looking at
another thing, Nate, since you're talking about the protection part, you know what I'm saying? A lot of men, I know we gotta go. A lot of men all be thinking that, oh, I gotta be the biggest, or I gotta be this, I gotta have a weapon. Bro,
altruism now.
protection, according to God's words, that's not what it means. Protection is when you with your lady, when you with your wife, do she see you as the biggest and baddest dude on earth? Does she see you as someone that say, you know what, I have no fear when my man is here? You know what I'm saying? That's what your wife feeling secure is all about. Is what are you carrying inside of you that tell your wife, I got you, baby. No matter what, I'm here with you.
Ah,
And that doesn't deal with a gun, that doesn't deal with muscle, that doesn't deal with any type of weapon. It's come from within yourself. And that's another discussion that, man, we gotta have a part two, Nate. We definitely gotta have
I
a part
hey
two, bro.
I gotta add this because you should have said that. Now again, you cannot, and I'm using the word weak, and I'm going to define what weak looks like. Weak basically looks like being able to make, again, consistency, making solid decisions, not being wishy-washy in your decisions. And those decisions can be like, okay, something's easy as going out to eat, something like that, or or paying a bill or going on a trip. You know, at times I'm like, because I like to have certain, I like to go to certain places, and I like certain places to look certain things, and I like to be hospitable. In contrast, make sure, gentlemen, ensure that you are not appearing weak. Again, that's what the protection looks like. Be consistent in your thought process. Be consistent in how you communicate with people. And I gotta say this: keep your parents out of. We gotta have a part two.
We gotta
Keep
have a part two, man.
out of your business. That's both for women and men. Stop telling men. Stop telling your mothers if you're coming from a single mother. You're coming from a single household. Stop telling your mother everything about your wife. That's not productive. You don't want to badmouth your wife. My mother, and I'll use myself as an example. My mother says, and dad said, my God bless my dad. We buried him last year, but he says, I will never get involved with the affairs of my son's marriage. He needs to deal with that independently. And my mom, she used to get on me. She says, man, you're too rough. You're rough with the kids. You're rough with your wife. You need to tone that down.
With that being said, as you guys can see, like I say, this whole platform is just like we're on a phone call. When you're talking to your brothers, when you're talking to your homeboy, when you're talking to your close friend, you know, it's always have one more topic that you want to discuss. So this is what we do.
Yeah.
So
We're gonna close
As
out.
always, subscribe, like,
Share, like.
share, and want to the first Friday of every month is when we'll be posting. But as the demand is there, we might do a little um, special post. Who
Yeah.
knows on one of those days? But at least the first Friday of every month, you should be expecting to see us with a topic that will help us men be better men.
Yes. Oh, also, in conclusion, ensure that you Eric mentioned it earlier. Make sure that you comment in the comments.
Yeah,
Also, send us an email. We have our email, the Married Man's Podcast at gmail.com.
yeah,
If you don't want to post and you want to send something anonymously, and there's something that you want us to discuss, we are brave enough to have those discussions.
absolutely. Absolutely. So let us know. As always, today's growth scale and behavioral outcome. The growth scale is make sure you have those interesting conversation. Those of you men that already married, still go ahead and have those conversation. And the behavioral outcome of the conversation will allow you to be a better man for your wife, be a better man for yourself, and be a better man, be a better father for your kids as well, for those of you that do have kids. So remember, it's always a way that you could grow. And while you're growing, you got to see the behavioral outcome of that growth. If you don't see the behavioral outcome of that growth to a positive way, then something's wrong. If you only see the behavioral outcome from a negative way, then you
Yeah.
need to tweak something. You got to evolve in something. Again, Nate brought a good point. Your past you cannot be in your future you.
Yeah.
You are someone totally different. So, brothers, when your wife say that she is changing, change with her. Don't let her be the only one changing and you staying the same.
Mm-hmm.
All right, brothers, let's be better. Any final word, Nate?
We bid you a good night, and we will see you next time. Peace.
Peace.